everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the first half of January, and in particular the new moon that we have coming up in Capricorn on the 9th and the 10th. But firstly, this month we have Mercury going retrograde. In fact, we have 4 periods of Mercury retrograde this year, which is quite unusual. Normally there are only 3. But this moves retrograde mainly in Capricorn from the 5th of January all the way through to the 25th. It'll be retrograding through that second half of Capricorn. So see where that second half of Capricorn falls in your chart, which area of life that represents. And that will mean that you will have a tendency to review, reevaluate, go back over the ideas and the plans in that area of life. So it's very useful. Also, Jupiter moves retrograde on the 7th of January. It moves from 23 degrees of Virgo all the way back to 13 degrees of Virgo by early May. Now, Jupiter retrograde will encourage us, particularly because it's in Virgo, to go back over our efficiency. Can we do things in a more methodical way? Can we streamline? Can we clear space? Can we improve our practical skills in some way? That's what we'll be encouraged to do. And particularly if you have anything around 23 degrees of the mutable signs, and they are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, you'll be likely to feel this strongly, because this will tend to give you a lot of confidence to want to really go for it. Because 23 degrees of the mutable signs is going to be pretty important for the first half of this year. But because Jupiter is also going to be conjunct the North Node, and Jupiter conjunct the North Node has this real sense of confidence, expansion, productivity. The North Node is our collective destiny, where we're headed. It really will encourage us to dare to dream big, if you like. But dare to dream big in a way, because they're both in Virgo, connected to practical service. What can we do with our unique gifts that will really help mankind in some way? And I think 2016 is a year when many of us shift from just making a living to really focus on our sense of vocation and to live and work much more authentically. Now, in addition to this, round about the new moon on the 9th and the 10th of the month, we'll really want to jump towards that vision in a bigger way, because the conjunction between Jupiter and the North Node is also very positively aspected by Mercury. It's trined by Mercury. So whatever urges and feelings we're having to dream big, to go for it, to have the confidence to expand, they will become more specifically grounded in our thinking and our ideas, because Mercury is the mental function. So that can be really very inspiring, because at that new moon, which is going to happen at 19 degrees 13 of Capricorn, it's going to happen on the 9th of January at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, and on the 10th at 1:30 a.m. UK time, we are going to have 4 planets in Capricorn. We're going to have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, and Pluto. Now, Capricorn is an earth sign, and it's very strong energy in terms of goal setting and achieving, but it also has the urge to make things concrete, to make them tangible, make them practical. So whatever inspiration we were getting from that beautiful Jupiter North Node Mercury trine, people say everything begins with a thought, and this is a very good example of how that could work. We're going to start to want to do something practical with it. In fact, at this new moon, we have 5 planets in cardinal signs, because we also have Uranus in Aries, and that's quite a weighting in cardinal signs. Cardinal signs are about goal setting, they're about getting the show on the road, they're about making things happen. So there's some very strong action-oriented energy at this time too. And what's interesting, however, despite all this earth energy in Capricorn, which is very solid, the energy at the new moon could be quite intense and changeable. And the reason for that is, yet again, the sun and moon as a new moon are highlighting the Uranus-Pluto square. Now, the Uranus-Pluto square is still very much operational. It's only a degree or so away from exactitude, and the sun and the moon are conjunct Pluto and squaring Uranus. So that means that feelings could be strong, deep, and intense. Whenever we have a moon together with Pluto or Uranus, that sort of aspect, our feelings can really be very strong indeed. And there'll be a desire for transformation. We may want to dig deep into our emotions in order to release them, but it's likely we'll be feeling strongly and deeply at this time. But also it has the potential for insights and awakening. That's the Uranus side of it. So really interesting time, because remember, a new moon is always a new beginning. So see where this falls in your chart, 19 degrees of Capricorn. And wherever it falls, look for the new beginning. Look for the idea, the conversation, the meeting, the phone call. It can come in various forms, but these lunations, these lunar cycles of new moon, full moon, can act as trigger points for the bigger planetary cycles that we're also talking about here too. So if you have anything at about 19 degrees of the cardinal signs, that's Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, you'll be likely to feel this new moon strongly. So a lot of intense and changeable energy round about this new moon, but don't forget that we also have this inspiration as well, and this strong sense of practical service for people. Now, because the sun and the moon are conjunct Pluto, remember, is the ruler of Scorpio, that always brings with it a very strong sense of focus and determination. So not only are we going to set goals, not only do we have the inspiration, not only do we want to make it real, but we are going to be super determined to get there. And what adds to that also is on the 4th of January, Mars, the ancient ruler of Scorpio, enters Scorpio. It's going to be in Scorpio for pretty much 18 weeks, which is an unusually long time. So Mars in Scorpio is very strong. It's tremendously focused. Scorpio is the most focused sign of the zodiac. And it will really give us that laser beam energy to achieve. It also initially, see where those early degrees of Scorpio fall in your chart, because Mars can help to energize that area of life for you. And particularly if you have any personal planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, etc., in those early degrees of Scorpio, you're likely to feel this strongly. Also, any axes in those early degrees of Scorpio can bring energy in, but there's also usually initially a sense of purging. Because Scorpio is the sign that is very retentive emotionally. It tends to hang on to old stuck energy. So there may be a sense, again, of this feeling of digging deep, releasing old, redundant energy that no longer serves us, then setting our goals, being focused and very determined to achieve. So, but it's also very intense energy, Mars in Scorpio as well. So if we're feeling a lot of intensity around this new moon, we can always do breath work, we can always meditate, we can always step back. And something else that can really help us is increasingly through this year, as the Uranus-Pluto square starts to dissolve, the dominant aspect will become Saturn square Neptune. And I've already talked and written quite a lot about this. But a very lovely manifestation of this is that Neptune in Pisces is very tuned into our dreams. It can almost dissolve the boundary between the conscious and subconscious minds and enable us to access higher information in our dreams. And because Saturn is in Sagittarius, that can be very future-oriented and visionary. So we can get some really fine, high-level information that can help as divine guidance, if you like, guide us in archetypal language in going forwards with all of this achieving, determined, inspired energy. So there's a lot happening in this first half of January. And if you don't know where 19 degrees of Capricorn, the new moon, or the other degree points I've mentioned fall in your chart, just check out the link appearing above me here or below in the description. That will take you to my store. You can buy a 2-part video series, and you can very easily find out how to find these and any aspects I ever mention in your own birth chart and what they mean for you in your life. If you'd like more information about my book, my audio book, my video about astrological signs, just check out my website pamgregory.com or thenextstep.uk.com. And in the meantime, have a wonderful new moon at 19 degrees of Capricorn. And thanks for listening.